Bigfoot walked into a quiet farm, touched nothing human should touch, and left scientists trembling on camera worldwide. This is not a blurry legend or a campfire rumor. This is raw footage of something massive breaching civilization, crossing fences, ignoring fear, and doing something so disturbing that researchers froze mid-analysis. Livestock stopped moving. Dogs backed away without barking. Cameras kept rolling as a towering shape loomed, tested boundaries, and behaved with an intelligence no known animal should possess. This wasn't chaos. It was deliberate, calculated, almost curious. Why a farm? Why now? And why did it leave without taking anything, yet somehow take everything from those who watched? The silence afterward is louder than screams, and the implications cut deeper than footprints in mud. If Bigfoot exists, this changes everything we think we know about wilderness, proximity, and who is really watching whom. Before we dive deeper, like, comment, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered Now. Shadow in the hayloft. In rural Idaho, a motion-triggered barn camera quietly activates sometime after midnight as a sheepdog stiffens near the fence while its owner sleeps inside the house. A dark mass rises behind the planks, caught on camera. Orange-red eyes ignite in the dust, filmed without sound. Hands longer than knees hook over wood, scientists shocked. The figure appears between 2.4 and 2.9 meters tall, shoulders 50–60% wider than a human male. Dense dark hair clumped as if soaked by forest rain, concealing gray-brown skin beneath. It moves heavy like a bison, yet smooth like an NFL linebacker changing direction, suggesting a massive skeletal frame engineered for both weight and silence, possibly a relict hominin adapted to human-adjacent environments rather than deep wilderness survival. The dog barks once, then backs away. The figure does not advance. It leans forward, pauses, and inhales. If this was not a hunt, what does it mean when something this large simply observes livestock from the dark? The fence line breather. On a remote Montana ranch, an infrared pasture camera scans lambing pens late at night while two farmers sleep in a nearby trailer. A towering shape materializes beyond the rails on camera. Shoulders swell wider than the fence posts, caught on infrared. A low exhale hits the mic. No one believed. Scale analysis places the figure close to 3.1 meters tall, arms hanging well past the knees, hair long, dark, and slightly matted, eyes reflecting a dull red glow. Its gait is fast but eerily soft. Each step heavy as a buffalo, yet landing quiet like a stalking cat, leading some scientists to speculate an evolutionary balance between mass and stealth unseen in modern megafauna. The sheep do not scatter. They turn their heads together, watching. Audio engineers later isolate a sound blending human breath, bear rumble, and wind through hollow trees. If prey animals sensed no immediate threat, were they responding to fear or to something familiar embedded deep in instinct? Silence at the pen gate. In western Alberta, a solar-powered coop camera switches to night mode shortly after dusk as a farmer finishes locking the gate and walks out of frame. A massive figure rises behind the pen, filmed clearly. Eyeshine pulses orange, caught on camera. The wooden gate rattles once, then stops, scientists shocked. Standing roughly 2.6 meters tall with arms extending far beyond human proportions, the being's torso is thick like a 1990s refrigerator, its dark hair clinging to a frame that moves with restraint rather than force, prompting theories that such creatures may possess advanced spatial memory, testing human boundaries without breaching them to conserve energy and avoid escalation. Indigenous records of the Wendigo describe forest giants that linger near food stores, marked by silence and watchfulness rather than attack, details unsettlingly mirrored in this footage. No animals are taken, no damage follows. Why would a creature capable of destruction choose restraint unless observation mattered more than feeding? The Watcher in the field. Before dawn in Nebraska, a thermal camera mounted to a grain silo scans frost-covered pasture while a ranch family sleeps unaware. A heat signature towers near the fence, scanned live. Limbs stretch unnaturally long, caught on thermal. The shape freezes in place. No one believed. Thermal overlays suggest a mass far exceeding known mammals, standing between 2.2 and 2.7 meters, shoulders massively overbuilt, hair insulating enough to blur heat dispersion, implying biological adaptation for cold endurance and prolonged stillness. Its upright posture, resembles no charging predator, but something assessing terrain, like a surveyor mapping land. For over a minute, it does nothing. Then its head turns, directly toward the camera. Technicians argue coincidence, yet the timing unsettles even skeptics. If it detected infrared scanning without visible light, what other tools does it already recognize? And how long has it known it was being watched? Barn light visitor. On an Oregon farm, a motion light snaps on near the chicken coop sometime after midnight, triggering a handheld trail camera mounted inside the doorway. A massive form fills the entrance, filmed head to toe. Eyes flare red-orange, caught on camera. A sharp, wet odor is reported by witnesses, scientists shocked. The figure stands an estimated 2.5 meters tall, shoulders far broader than any man present, hair dark, thick, and slightly clumped, arms hanging low past the knees. Movement analysis shows extreme speed restrained by control, like a predator choosing not to strike, reinforcing hypotheses of a highly intelligent omnivore capable of deliberate restraint around human assets. Audio captures a sound, blending low, human-like breathing with something heavier, almost bovine, underlaid by wind. The chickens remain silent. No coop boards break. If it came for food, why leave empty-handed? And why turn its head toward the camera before stepping back into darkness? The returning shadow. Days later on the same property, a different camera activates near the pasture fence while sheep cluster unusually close together. A familiar silhouette emerges on camera. The same shoulder width, the same gait, caught on footage. Eyes reflect again, dimmer this time, no one believed. Comparative measurements suggest the same individual, roughly 2.7 meters tall, hair still matted, arms long, posture relaxed. Its repeated appearance implies territory familiarity rather than random wandering, aligning with theories that such beings patrol defined ranges like apex predators or something older, with memory spanning seasons. It stops at the fence. It listens. Then it exhales and steps away without crossing. If something this large returns not to feed but to confirm, what exactly is it checking? And when the fence is no longer there, will the silence remain? Headlight panic event. At 02:43 a.m. near the Payette River in Idaho, a roadside security camera captures a work truck slowing on a forest access road as its headlights wash across the trees. A tall figure bursts into frame, caught on camera. Long arms swing past the knees, filmed mid-stride. The body pivots and flees, scientists shocked. Frame-by-frame scaling puts the subject between 2.5 and 3 meters tall. Shoulders massively wider than the truck's side mirror, hair dark and matted, skin beneath reading as earth brown. Its movement is explosive but controlled, heavy like a charging bull, yet fluid, like an NFL sprinter accelerating off the line, suggesting a musculoskeletal system built for sudden escape rather than confrontation. The figure reacts instantly to artificial light. It does not charge, it runs. If this was a costumed hoax, why flee from a single truck instead of performing for the camera? And how did something that large disappear into trees in under 3 seconds? Backtrack through pines. In a dense pine stand, a trail camera activates without warning as leaf litter shifts and branches flex behind the frame. A massive back fills the shot on camera. Hair ripples with each step, caught on infrared. A pale hand flashes, no one believed. The subject appears around 2.7 meters tall, arms extending well below the hips, hair thick and dark with a damp sheen, obscuring gray-toned skin. Its gait is unusually quiet for its size, each footfall heavy yet muted, like a buffalo trained to move like a stalking cat, prompting speculation about specialized foot structure and soft tissue padding evolved for silent forest travel. No vocalization is recorded, no animals react nearby. The figure never looks toward the lens. If it didn't sense the camera at all, what does that say about how often something this large passes through monitored forests without being noticed? Green Night Family. A night vision device records an open clearing as 3 figures emerge from darkness, their eyes glowing unnaturally bright. One towering adult advances, filmed clearly. 2 smaller forms trail behind, caught on camera. Their pace is calm, deliberate, scientists shocked. The lead figure measures an estimated 2.8 meters tall with extreme shoulder breadth, while the smaller forms stand roughly chest-high by comparison, sharing the same hair texture and eye reflection. Movement analysis suggests coordinated group travel, hinting at social structure rather than solitary behavior. an idea echoed in Himalayan Yeti accounts, describing family groups migrating at night to avoid human contact. Historical records note Yeti juveniles staying close to adults in exposed terrain, an unsettling parallel. The group never breaks formation. They pass through and vanish. If these beings travel as families, how many sightings dismissed as blurs were actually moments we weren't meant to witness? The heavy walker. In an Oklahoma clearing during daylight, a handheld camera records a large figure moving steadily across dead grass toward the tree line. The body sways with mass, caught on video. Arms hang unnaturally long, filmed in full stride. The ground compresses underfoot, no one believed. Estimates place the subject at roughly 2.6 meters tall, with a thick torso and shoulders wider than any known primate, hair dark and dense with a slight sheen, covering brown-gray skin. Its pace is slow but unstoppable, like a refrigerator-sized weight, moving with the confidence of something that has never needed to hurry, suggesting caloric efficiency and dominance rather than fear. The figure never looks at the camera. It does not react. It simply walks until trees swallow it. If something this large moves openly in daylight without concern, what does it know about our inability or unwillingness to intervene? Highway silhouette. On a mountain highway bordered by guardrails and snow patches, a phone camera zooms shakily toward a lone figure walking away along the asphalt. A tall shape strides the center line, on camera. Shoulders dwarf the rail height, caught on footage. The gait remains steady, scientists shocked. Relative to the guardrail, the figure appears close to 3 meters tall, arms swinging low past the hips, hair dark and heavy against a broad frame, moving with the confidence of something unconcerned with vehicles, as if roads are merely interruptions rather than barriers. Biomechanical analysts note minimal upper body bounce, implying extraordinary core strength and balance. No attempt is made to hide, no turn of the head, it keeps walking. If roads cut through its territory, and not the other way around, how often are we the intruders without realizing it? Distant ridge figure. A long-lens video captures a small upright shape traversing a rocky Colorado hillside as tourists point from below. The figure crosses open ground, filmed clearly. Stride remains upright and human-like, caught on camera. Scale defies distance expectations, no one believed. Despite appearing small, terrain scaling places the subject near 2.5 meters tall. Shoulders wide, arms long, hair dark and wind-matted, moving with steady efficiency across uneven slope. Similar behavior appears in Orang Pendek reports from Sumatra. Bipedal forest beings documented walking ridgelines to survey valleys before retreating, raising questions about shared survival strategies across continents. The figure pauses once. It turns slightly. Then it disappears behind rock. If something that large chooses distance over concealment, is it avoiding us or allowing us just enough proof to doubt ourselves? Between the firs. In a misty conifer forest, a handheld phone camera steadies just long enough to catch a towering figure drifting between tree trunks as moss and ferns frame the path. A broad back slides past bark, caught on camera. Arms hang far below the hips, filmed in natural light. The forest stays quiet. No one believed. The figure appears roughly 2.6 to 2.9 meters tall. Shoulders massively wide, dark hair hanging thick and slightly clumped as if damp, concealing gray-brown skin. Its movement is heavy yet smooth, like a 1990s refrigerator gliding across polished concrete, suggesting dense bone structure, balanced by remarkable joint control developed for long-distance forest travel. No branches snap, no birds scatter. The figure never looks back. If something this large can pass through daylight woods without triggering alarm, how often are we sharing trails with things our brains refuse to register? Backyard gravity event. A fixed backyard camera activates after dark, revealing a trampoline trembling under sudden weight while the surrounding lawn remains still. A massive form drops into frame, caught on camera. The mat bows deeply, filmed without collapse. Arms lift and settle, scientists shocked. Based on scale against the trampoline frame, the figure exceeds 2.5 meters, shoulders far wider than any human, hair dark and dense, absorbing light. The controlled landing suggests extraordinary muscle coordination and balance, dispersing force like a professional high diver rather than a clumsy intruder, raising questions about how such mass avoids catastrophic impact. No laughter, no vocalization, just a single bounce, then stillness. If this were a prank, why risk exposure? And if it wasn't, what kind of intelligence tests human objects instead of avoiding them? Penline standoff. A night vision co-op camera records sheep bunching tightly as a tall shape emerges just beyond the fence. A hulking silhouette leans forward on camera. Eyes reflect dull orange, caught on infrared. A dog halts mid-run, no one believed. The figure stands near 2.7 meters tall, arms extending past the knees, shoulders wider than the pen gate, hair matted and dark, skin beneath reading as earth-toned. Its stillness recalls indigenous Skookum accounts describing massive forest beings known for silent watching rather than attack, often appearing near livestock without crossing barriers. The sheep do not bolt, the dog retreats, the figure waits, then steps back into darkness. If predators usually test fences with force, why does this one rely on presence alone? And what does it learn by simply being seen? River eye contact. A chest-mounted camera records a fisherman standing mid-river when a dark figure appears upstream against fog and evergreens. A tall shape wades the shallows, caught on camera. Water breaks at its thighs, filmed steadily. The figure pauses, scientists shocked. Relative to river depth, the subject appears over 2.8 meters tall, shoulders broad as a cold storage wall, hair hanging wet and heavy, arms long and relaxed. Its stance shows no fear of current or exposure, hinting at anatomical adaptations for cold water endurance and balance more akin to large ungulates than primates. The figure turns its head. The camera shakes. No sound follows. If it noticed the angler and chose stillness over retreat, was that restraint or a calculated decision to let the human leave first? Slope-bound approach. In a leaf-littered woodland, a shaky zoom captures a massive form advancing downhill between thin trunks. The body sways with mass, on camera. Hands swing low and open, caught on video. Footsteps remain muted, no one believed. Estimates place the figure around 2.6 meters tall, hair dark and thick, shoulders oversized, moving heavy like a buffalo, but quiet like a stalking cat. Such movement suggests specialized foot padding and joint alignment evolved to reduce sound despite weight, an advantage in dense forests shared by no known modern primate. The camera holder breathes loudly. The figure does not react. It changes direction slightly, avoiding direct approach. If it altered course without alarm, did it sense the human long before the camera ever focused? Feeder line observer. A fixed wildlife feeder camera shows early morning fog drifting through bare trees as movement registers in the background. A tall silhouette crosses behind the feeder, caught on camera. Shoulders eclipse tree trunks, filmed through haze. The device remains untouched, scientists shocked. The figure appears close to 2.7 meters tall, arms long past the waist, hair dark and matted, moving with deliberate slowness. Some researchers compare this behavior to orang pendek reports from Sumatra, upright forest beings documented circling human tools without interference, suggesting shared strategies of observation without engagement. It pauses once. It looks toward the clearing. Then it fades into fog. If it knew exactly where the feeder was and still avoided it, was hunger never the reason it came? Tideline strider. A handheld phone records a dark, upright figure crossing wet sand near a forested shoreline under heavy clouds. A tall body moves fast, caught on camera. Footprints sink deep, filmed clearly in profile. The surf stays silent. No one believed. The figure appears roughly 2.7 meters tall, shoulders far broader than a human's, arms swinging below the knees, hair dark and heavy with moisture, masking gray-brown skin. Its stride is powerful yet balanced, heavy like a bull but smooth like a trained runner, suggesting hips and ankles evolved for unstable ground such as riverbanks and coasts. It angles toward the trees without hesitation. Waves erase the tracks seconds later. If it knew the tide would erase evidence, was that instinct or learned behavior passed down over generations? The dog held still. A daylight forest clip shows a small hunting dog frozen as a massive black-furred figure crouches close behind. A broad shape fills the frame, caught on camera. Long fingers hover near the ground, filmed in detail. The dog remains calm. Scientists shocked. Even crouched, the figure appears near 2.6 meters tall, shoulders enormous, hair thick and shaggy, eyes faintly reflective. Its posture is low and controlled, weight centered like a predator choosing restraint rather than attack, suggesting advanced situational awareness and emotional regulation uncommon in known megafauna. No growl follows, no sudden movement, just tension. Wendigo legends describe forest giants that test fear without violence. If the dog sensed no threat, what signal did it read that humans consistently misinterpret? Green light passage. Night vision footage labeled Washington, December 27, 2024, shows a tall figure slipping between trees under a green glow. A massive form leans forward, caught on camera. Eyes flash red-orange, filmed mid-stride. Branches bend quietly. No one believed. The subject appears between 2.5 and 2.8 meters tall, shoulders extremely wide, hair dark and matted, arms long past the waist. Movement is fast yet silent, like a hunting cat scaled to the size of a refrigerator, hinting at joint structure and muscle density designed to suppress noise despite mass. The figure never breaks pace. It never looks toward the lens. If it knew it was visible and still didn't react, was the camera irrelevant or already accounted for? Snowmobile intercept. A shaky winter video captures a massive upright figure beside a snowmobile paused in a clearing. A tall silhouette towers over the machine, caught on camera. Arms hang unnaturally long, filmed in daylight. Snow remains undisturbed, scientists shocked. Relative scale places the figure near 2.7 meters tall, shoulders wider than the handlebars, hair dark and dense, moving with deliberate calm rather than panic. Its stance shows balance and confidence on snow, implying foot structure and muscle control adapted for cold, unstable terrain. The snowmobile engine idles. The figure does not flee. It stands, then turns away. If engines and human noise don't trigger fear, what exactly does this creature consider a threat? Yard line crossing. A fixed night camera records a fenced yard as a chained dog stares at a tall figure walking past the tree line. A massive body crosses the frame, caught on camera. Eyes glow dull orange, filmed clearly. The dog pulls back, no one believed. The figure appears around 2.6 meters tall, shoulders broad, hair thick and dark, arms swinging low. Its pace is steady and unconcerned, like something accustomed to human spaces but uninterested in confrontation, suggesting long-term exposure rather than avoidance. It never approaches the bowl. It never tests the fence. It simply passes through. If it wasn't searching for food, why enter a yard at all? Unless mapping routines mattered more than resources. Feeder intelligence test. A trail camera activates at 02:14 a.m., showing a massive figure kneeling near a pile of corn and vegetables. A large hand lifts food, caught on camera. Eyes reflect pale amber, filmed close-up. The feeder remains intact, scientists shocked. The subject appears roughly 2.5 meters tall, shoulders extremely wide, hair thick and dark, facial structure heavy and human-like. Its grip is precise, movements careful, suggesting fine motor control inconsistent with known wild primates and hinting at cognitive planning around human traps. It samples once. It does not overfeed. It leaves the rest untouched. If this was hunger, why show restraint? And if it was curiosity, what exactly was being tested? The food or us? Frozen road impact. A dashboard camera records a snowbound forest road at night as headlights catch sudden movement dead ahead. A massive figure lunges sideways, caught on camera. Antlers clash. Snow explodes. Filmed mid-impact. The car brakes hard. Scientists shocked. The figure appears near 2.8 meters tall, shoulders absurdly wide, hair dark and frost-dusted, arms long enough to swing below the knees. Its motion is violent yet controlled, heavy like a bull moose but pivoting with the balance of a seasoned linebacker, suggesting a frame evolved to contest megafauna on slick terrain. The moose retreats. The figure does not pursue. It vanishes between trees in seconds. If it could overpower prey larger than a vehicle, why disengage the moment a human arrives? Driveway. Pressure test. A fixed night camera shows a parked sedan as a towering shape steps from darkness into the narrow space beside a fence. A broad back fills frame, caught on camera. One hand presses metal, filmed close-up. The car rocks slightly. No one believed. Estimated at 2.6 meters tall, the figure's shoulders crowd the fence line, hair thick and pale under infrared, skin beneath reading gray-brown. The pressure applied is deliberate, not frantic, as if testing resistance rather than breaking it, hinting at strength calibration and problem-solving rather than rage. No glass breaks, no alarm sound, the figure withdraws calmly. If this was curiosity, why choose a vehicle? And what did it learn from the metal's response? Hood slide incident. A wide-angle driveway camera activates at 01/19/2026, 02:14 a.m. as a large shape climbs onto a car hood. A heavy body settles, caught on camera. Metal flexes under weight, filmed steadily. The figure pauses, scientists shocked. Scaled to the vehicle, the subject appears roughly 2.7 meters tall, hair dense and lightened by infrared glare, arms long and controlled. The movement disperses force carefully, like a climber distributing weight, suggesting advanced motor planning uncommon in known wildlife. It slides off without noise, no dents deepen. It leaves the driveway untouched. If it understood the limits of the surface, was it testing shelter or testing us? Ridgeline contact, green night vision footage labeled OP. Ridgeline shows a massive figure halted by a tree as a human silhouette aims equipment nearby. A huge form turns slowly, caught on camera. Eyes glow pale, filmed through distortion. The air goes still. No one believed. The subject stands near 3 meters tall, shoulders wall-like, hair matted and dark, arms hanging past the knees. Its posture is defensive but restrained, heavy like a bison, yet quiet as a stalking cat, implying threat assessment rather than aggression. No charge occurs. No retreat follows. The camera cuts. If contact was avoided on both sides, who made the decision to disengage and why? Porch line struggle. A porch camera records a sudden confrontation as a human stumbles backward and a towering figure looms. A massive arm lifts, caught on camera. Gravel scatters, filmed in harsh light. The figure releases, scientists shocked. The being appears around 2.6 meters tall, shoulders far broader than the humans, hair dark and clumped, movement explosive but checked mid-action. Analysts note restraint at the moment force could escalate, suggesting intent to repel rather than injure. The human retreats. The figure steps back. Silence returns. If it chose control over dominance, what boundary was being enforced? Fuel stop interruption. A cabin-mounted camera records 11:37 p.m. as a man reaches into a truck bed and a massive shape emerges behind him. A huge figure advances, caught on camera. Eyes reflect amber, filmed clearly. The human flees, no one believed. Standing roughly 2.7 meters tall, with shoulders 50% wider than a man's and hair thick and dark, the figure moves fast yet precise, like a predator choosing displacement over pursuit. It ignores the fuel can, ignores the cabin light, and watches the human leave. It does not follow. It fades into the trees. If resources were available and fear was triggered, why abandon both, unless observation was the real objective? Across frozen roads, quiet backyards, forest ridgelines, and dimly lit driveways, one pattern keeps returning. Something massive moves at the edge of our certainty, close enough to be filmed, distant enough to be denied. These clips don't scream answers, they whisper questions. Why does it test, observe, pause, and retreat? Why does it choose silence over dominance, restraint over chaos? Whether these figures are misidentified wildlife, elaborate hoaxes, or something far older than our stories, the footage forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. The world may not be as mapped, controlled, or understood as we like to believe. In the dark, we are no longer the unquestioned observers. We may be the ones being studied. And perhaps that's what unsettles us most. If these videos made you think, question, or feel that chill of the unknown, don't keep it to yourself. Like, comment, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered, because the truth doesn't always hide. Sometimes it waits to be noticed.